Hi there. Today we're going to continue thinking about our independent living. So, one of the biggest things once you have decided to live independently is making sure that you can stick to a budget so that you don't run out of money. Because it's very easy to do. That's running out of money, not sticking to the budget. So, how do you plan a budget? Have a think about what these different statements mean, how you can use them, and what impacts they could have. Just spend a couple of minutes and take some notes on your workbook. Okay. Let's have a look at the Williams family. So, Mrs. Williams works as an office manager and travels to work on the train. Mr. Williams has his own business as an electrician. Their son Liam has football lessons each week, and their daughter Georgia learns karate. They've got two pets, a cat and a dog, and they enjoy doing fun things together as a family. But they want to make sure they're not spending more money than they earn each month. How could they do this? They could plan a budget. So there's a lot of different things that they're going to need to bear in mind when they're doing this. There is Mrs. Williams works as an office manager and travels to work on the train. So when they're planning their budget, they're going to have to make sure that they've covered the travel. So the train tickets are not cheap at all. Mr. Williams has got his own business as an electrician. So he's going to have to make sure that he is doing a self-assessment tax return, which will probably involve keeping money aside each month to pay the tax bill at the end of the year. Their son Liam's got football lessons each week. They're going to have to factor in the cost of that as well as the travel to get there and back. Georgia learns karate. There's going to be costs that come with that. Not only the lessons, but also the same for Liam playing football. Things like kit, new football boots, the lessons, and then matches. Karate, is you're going to start going to tournaments. So there's going to be travel involved in that. Is there going to be additional costs? Is there going to be additional kit that comes with travelling to the tournament or taking part in it? We've got two pets, a cat and a dog. So they're going to need to factor in cat food, dog food, vet bills, potentially pet insurance. All these kind of things are all going to need to be factored into their budget. They enjoy doing fun things as a family. So within their budget, they're going to have to factor in enough money to be able to go and do those fun things. If you were Mr. or Mrs. Williams or Liam or Georgia, you would know what those fun things were and whether they were likely to cost money. If they just like to go to the park, that doesn't cost much. But if they like to go to Alton Towers, for instance, or something like that, then that's expensive. I know it's not handy for us in Scotland, but hey, it's good fun when it's open. So, a budget, important. So what is a budget? A budget is how you balance the income that you have. Should be shown on your payslips. There's an example of a payslip here. It shows the gross monthly pay, then your deductions, and then your net pay. So this part here, the net pay, that's what's actually going to go into your bank account. All the rest of the information on there is how much deductions you're having. Started off at £1,600, had money taken off for national insurance, income tax, repaying the student loan. So there's a total of 286.47 taken off, which left 1,313 on this example that went into bank account. So that's your starting point. That's how much money you have, and it's got to last you to cover all of the different things. The next place you'd want to look is your bank statements. So lots of different ways. You used to get a bank statement posted to you every month. Most banks are trying to go paperless now, and you'll either have online banking or you'll do it through an app on your phone. Personally, I just use the app on my phone most of the time. I only log into the proper one if I want to do something that's a bit more complex that my phone doesn't let me do. But the apps are getting better all the time. So normally, I can use my app on my phone to do anything I need to do. Probably the only exception would be maybe applying for a mortgage or something like that. I wouldn't be able to do that directly from my app. I'd probably need to speak to somebody. Okay. When you've got your bank statement or your your phone app open, when you're doing your budget, all you do is you pick a date in the month, usually the 1st, and you go right back through till the previous 1st, and you write down every time something comes out of your account. So, and then you put it into the relevant section. So you'll have some direct debits, you'll have some standing orders, and then you'll have things like cash withdrawals, or when you've used your card or your phone or whatever to buy something. So if you're just buying random stuff and you know what it is, then that just needs to go into your spending money section. But you still need to account for that, because you need to have an idea of how much you're spending each month to make sure that you're not spending more than you're earning. Okay. So when you buy something, you get a receipt. So ideally, you would keep all those receipts, tally them up, so that you know how much you're spending. If you're using a card or contactless payments more than cash, it means that you don't need to keep the receipts, because it all just goes straight into your statement. So it shows up on your phone exactly what you've bought, where you bought it, and it'll tell you that you went to Tesco and you spent £20. If it's anything like me, and it's a shop that I go past all the time, it shows up every day or every couple of days. Spend a small fortune in there. You'll also get other documents that get sent to you, either emailed or through the post. Mainly it will be from any supplier, so gas, electricity, energy suppliers. You'll have bills coming through for things like Sky, Netflix and things like that tend to just be done online. You'll just get an email about that, but you'll still be able to see that on your statement, that deduction is happening. Setting up a direct debit for any of these kind of bills is going to help you with your budgeting, because otherwise the energy companies send you a bill once every quarter. So that means that every 3 months you get a bill for 3 months worth of electricity and gas. And that can be a lot bigger than you expect it to be, and it can be difficult to pay off of effectively 1 month's salary. Because what happens is, in months 1 and 2, you forget that you've got a bill coming in month 3. You spend the money, buy yourself something nice, then the bill comes and you don't have enough money to pay it. If you set up a direct debit, then you get a smaller amount taken out every month, but it means that it's much easier to budget. Okay, so a budget is a financial plan to help you keep track of your income and expenditure. That's your income, our ins and outs. When you're responsible for your own bills and spending, a budget is a good way of keeping track of everything. Personally, I just set up an Excel spreadsheet, and I've got a bit at the top that says how much I earn, how much my wife earns, and then underneath is all the stuff that we spend it on. And then Excel's very easy to add it all up for you, and then you can see if you're going to be okay or not. That can help you when you're then planning other purchases, and it allows you to plan a bit further ahead. Okay, so have a think about this. We're considering moving into a flat and need to create a budget. A monthly income of £1,100 per month, and the rent in the flat would be £325 per month. So 1100 minus 325, that's going to give us £775 left. Sounds like a lot of money. However, what other essential costs are there going to be that would need to be included in the budget? Council tax. More expensive than you think it's going to be, although you can get a 25% discount if you are living alone or are a student. Energy bills, in big writing because they are, again, more expensive than you expect. Food should probably be bigger in proportion to the other ones, because you actually spend a lot of money on food. Travel, sometimes forgotten about, particularly if you don't drive, but getting the bus or a train can be quite expensive. If you drive, then when you're factoring in, you need to factor in more than just the cost of paying for the car. If you've got it on finance or you've got a car loan, you'll also need car insurance, car tax, or road tax, called vehicle excise duty, I think it's called now. Basically, it's car tax. And also, your fuel, so petrol or diesel or electricity if you've got a new car. Your TV licence, you can pay for that yearly, quarterly, monthly. That actually do cards and things that you can do weekly now. Phone line and internet. You might not actually want a landline phone, but you still need to get a phone line into the house to be able to get the internet. A mobile phone. I've put this under essential costs because when we had our discussion in class, you shot me down in flames when I said you didn't need a mobile phone. So it's in the essential costs. Council tax pays for services such as waste management and water supply. So that is getting your bins emptied, making sure your water works, making sure that when you flush the toilet, it doesn't come back up again. That's your council tax. Also make sure that they maintain everything in the city. Cost of council tax is varied depending on where you live. It is generally more expensive in cities than in more rural areas. If you live alone or a student, as I said before, you're entitled to a 25% discount on your council tax. Council tax bill is normally paid over 10 months. You can ask for it to be over 12 months. But the difference in the amount that you pay over 10 months or 12 months isn't very much. And it can be quite nice when it comes to February and March, which is months 11 and 12, where you don't have to pay that. Suddenly it's like, oh, got a little bit extra cash here, which is quite nice. But if you're struggling, you can request to get it over 12 months, and that will bring down the monthly payment a little bit. TV licence. This is one that's getting debated a lot just now, because a lot of people only see it as the BBC, because the TV licence funds the BBC, whether that is the radio, BBC 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever channel you're watching. It's also needed if you want to use BBC iPlayer, and you might not need a TV for TV licence, but if you use any device to stream TV, then you need a TV licence. So if you watch TV through your phone, a tablet, a laptop, whatever, then you need a TV licence. TV licence costs £157.50 a year for a colour one. You can get a black and white one, but there's basically no black and white TVs anymore, so I don't think that's really going to be relevant to you guys. You can pay for it monthly. It's £13.13 a month. And as I said before, they also do cards where you can pay for it weekly, fortnightly, depending on whatever you need. I've put a link in your assignment that you can have a look at, and I'll give you a lot more detail about that. I've also linked the MoneySense budgeting game. I put this in one of the assignments early during this remote learning lockdown stage of the term. And if you haven't already had a play with it, then go and have a play with that. If you've done it already, then don't worry, just skip that. Okay, I would like you to have a look at the activity in your workbook. So it's breaking down costs for Emma, who works as a waitress and lives in a flat that she shares with 2 other people. So that's why in the first box it says rent 840/3. That slash is 840 divided by 3. So that means that the rent for the flat was £840 and it's been split between the 3 people who live there. Flat sharing is a common thing, particularly for students and young professionals who are not quite financially okay to pay all of the costs on their own. Very sensible way of doing things, as long as you pick the right flatmates. Okay, some of the other costs that are in the budget, you're going to have to do a bit of research. In this case, Google is going to be your friend. Other search engines are available. So that will be for things like your council tax and water charge. So in the instructions, it tells you what band she lives in, what band the house is in, how much it's worth. So when you go onto Dundee City Council website and look at council tax, there are different bands, and it tells you how to find which band is applicable. And also tells you the price of all her goods so that you can budget correctly for insurance. And then you can tell her to walk to work, get the bus, or a taxi, depending on how you plan on getting there. You can add other stuff into it that you think may be necessary. Have a look there. Yep. If there's some things that you don't think that Emma needs to do or pay for, then you don't have to put them in your budget. And see how you can get on setting up her monthly budget. Thank you.